Hi, ladies. Today is May 12th, and we are in week 6, day 2 in your packet, looking at pages 30, 31, and 32. Um, Today, our learning target is I can convert metric units of mass. So we're going to be looking at milligrams, grams, and kilograms today, and converting between those 3 units of measurement. And you'll notice that going from kilograms to grams or grams to milligrams, we're either going to be multiplying or dividing by 1,000. So this strategy is very similar to what we have been doing the last couple days. Thinking basically along the line of moving your decimal or adding zeros. So today is another day that you're going to be able to do a little bit of mental math. So you can go ahead and cross off numbers 1 and 2 today, and we're going to start on number 3. So looking at number 3, and I kind of created a little makeshift conversion chart up here showing going from kilograms to grams, grams to milligrams is multiplication, and then backwards is going to be that division piece. So let's go ahead and get started. So again, you have on page 30 your own conversion chart down at the bottom if you'd like to use that one. Or you can always kind of draw your own little makeshift one on your paper as well. So looking at number 3, we're going from grams, so we're right here in the center, to milligrams. So we are going to be going from grams to milligrams, so we're going to be using multiplication. And remember, you're multiplying by 1,000 each time, which means we're going to either be moving our decimal if we have one 3 times, or if it's a whole number, we're going to just be adding zeros on to the end. So looking at number 3, we have 9 and 25 hundredths, and we're going to be multiplying that by 1,000 because we're going grams to milligrams, which means we want to move our decimal 3 times. Remember, we're moving it the same direction as that arrow, which is to the right, and then each number gets its own bowl. So right here we have an empty bowl, and then this becomes a comma, so we have 9,250. Oops. 9,250. All right, so looking at number 4, we're going from grams and we're going back to kilograms. So we're going to be using that division piece because we're going from a smaller unit to a bigger unit. So we want to make sure that that number is getting smaller. So we're going to be dividing. And on this one, you do not have a decimal, but I would recommend that you add that decimal to the very end, because if there isn't a decimal, we always assume it's at the end of the problem. So then we're going to move that decimal 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So right now we have decimal 1, 9. You can leave the 0 on the end if you'd like, or you can eliminate it because we know that a 0 at the end of a decimal number doesn't add any value to it. So it could be 19 hundredths or 190 thousandths, your choice. Looking at number 5 and 6, we're going to be using greater than, less than, or equal to compare. Remember, we want to go from the larger unit to the smaller unit. Because if you're going from larger to smaller, you're going to be multiplying. So thinking about this problem right here, they're both 7,000, okay? So if I'm taking 7,000 and I'm multiplying it by 1,000, I know, so we're going from grams to milligrams. So we would take this 7,000 grams and we would be multiplying it by 1,000. And if I take 7,000 and I multiply it by 1,000, I automatically know it's going to be more than 7,000 milligrams because we know if we take 7,000 and multiply it by anything, it's going to give us something bigger than that. All right, so now looking at number 6, I have 10 to the second kilograms. So basically a 1 with 2 zeros, which is 100, or 10 to the 4th grams, which is a 1 with 4 zeros. So on this one, remember you want to go from that larger unit to the smaller unit, which means I'm going to be taking 100 and multiplying it by 1,000. Because it's already a whole number, basically all I'm going to be doing is adding those 3 zeros onto the end, which gives me 100,000, whereas 10 to the fourth is 10,000. So then my kilograms would be more. So on 7 through 12, you're going to be doing the same strategy that we just did on numbers 3 and 4, either multiplying or dividing by 1,000. If you're going between more than one place value, it doesn't look like any of these are doing that. Let's see, kilogram to milligram. So I'm not seeing that. It looks like you're either just going to multiply or divide by 1,000 on these. And then down below, remember, you want to start with that larger unit and turn it into the smaller unit. So taking that larger unit and turning it into the smaller unit. So I'll go ahead and underline the larger unit, which means on this one, I'm going to be taking 8 kilograms and turning it into grams. So you can also write it out, kind of similar to this up top, to ask yourself how many grams it would be. So you can do either of those. You can either just write it out, or you can kind of write the whole problem out for yourself. On numbers 19 and 20, you're going to be going between grams and milligrams and grams and kilograms. So if we're going, we're starting here, so we know our milligrams. From milligrams to grams, we can go back up and look. Milligrams to grams, we're going to divide by 1,000, which if we take 1,000 and we divide it by 1,000, we know that 1,000 goes into 1,000 one time. And then on this one, because you already know your grams, you're going to be multiplying to get this number. So 10, we multiply by 1,000, is basically just us adding 3 zeros. So we have 10 with 3 zeros. And then thinking about this, we're going to go backwards and divide because we know our milligrams, and to go from milligrams to grams, we divide. So this one we would divide by 1,000. And one way to do this is to kind of find that basic fact. 1 goes into 1 one time, and then we can cross off these 3 zeros and then add the 2 in that are left over. So you're going to be doing the same thing on grams to kilograms. Instead of using 1, 10, and 100, you're going to be using a 5, either in that ones place, tens place, hundreds place, whatever it is. All right, so now on page 32, you have your daily review. There are 8 questions. Think about, so a lot of these questions kind of go back to some of the assignments we've done over the last several weeks. So I would definitely highly recommend either referring back into your packet, or you can also refer to the YouTube videos that are already saved on YouTube. So I know that we did some things with expanded form. We've done some different conversion the last couple days. We've practiced adding and subtracting fractions. So there's a lot of things that we've done over the last few weeks that you should be able to refer to on YouTube. But again, if you don't understand, please feel free to reach out. You can use email or Remind, or bring these assignments with you to our Zoom meeting on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then we can talk about them together. So after you've completed this conversion independent practice, so numbers 7 through 20, make sure that you head over to pearsonrealize.com and complete 5, 12, 20 quick check. Just a reminder, that is your daily participation points for each day. That's how I'm able to assess kind of the work that you're doing and give you any feedback on maybe some strategies that you can be using at home to maybe better your skills. So please make sure that you are getting to Pearson Realize, completing those 5 questions. It shouldn't take too terribly long, just a couple of minutes. But again, please make sure that you have completed the independent practice first, because this is that assessment portion, just like we do in class. We do independent practice, and then you get assessed on what you learned. So please make sure that this gets finished first and then you head to Pearson Realize and complete that assignment.